What is going on, everyone? A huge thank you for clicking on today's video. Today I've got another physical Pokemon ROM hack, this time in the form of none other than Pokemon Grape version for the Game Boy. Yeah, so Pokemon Grape is a ROM hack of Pokemon Red version, maybe Blue version, I'm not 100% sure on that, by ADC, and essentially it is a whole new story, a whole new adventure. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's got 2 entire regions to explore. It's got, I believe, all of the quality of life improvements that you could possibly imagine. We'll have to double check that, of course. But it's got new types. It's a whole new adventure, but we'll get more into that in just a second. First, let's take a look at this physical cartridge. So you can obviously tell there's no case this time around. I do usually try and go for a case, just for my own personal interest and for the sake of having something more complete to look at for the collection, but I just kind of had an itchy trigger finger, I've been wanting to try out Grape for a really long time, physically of course, and I finally found one that wasn't just a generic gray cartridge, no offense to those, but I wanted something, I don't know, I guess I maybe wanted purple, but they went with green, and that's probably the next color I think of when I think of grapes, if not purple, green, so I love it, we got it, but no case this time around, but we do have this nice green cartridge, like I said, not purple, but I don't know if I've ever actually seen a purple cartridge, but I guess that doesn't really matter because this one's green. But just for comparison's sake, I do have my Pokemon Green here, or Apple as it was labeled at the flea market, oddly enough. So we'll just take, for comparison's sake here, put these together. I think you can even tell on camera, there's definitely a difference here. This one kind of feels cheaper and maybe even looks cheaper. This one's a little bit more glossy, a little bit more clean in my opinion. You can kind of tell that they're maybe slightly different material, and also if you line them up, this one's just like a little bit taller. These lines right here, they don't exactly line up, but yeah, that's certainly interesting. I noticed these stickers are a little bit more rounded on this one. Don't entirely fill the whole thing, but either way, I figured we may as well show that for comparison's sake. Looking really nice. I'm definitely not going to complain about it. I actually love it. I think the only thing that I would change personally is I would put Grape version somewhere on this cover here. I like the way it looks, don't get me wrong, it looks great, but it's just a little blank without it. I feel like most of the time I usually see the game, but now that I think about it, this one technically doesn't say green either, so I'm not going to knock it for that, but just something I noticed. I think it would look a little bit cooler if in the Pokemon text just said Grape version right there. We do have Scyther though, that's cool. I don't entirely know his purpose to the game for being the mascot. I haven't really gotten that far yet, so we'll have to maybe wait and see and check that out, but either way, Scyther's badass, so I'm glad that he's the one that they chose for this version. But since there is no case, there's not really much else to look at, we'll go ahead and pop this into the Game Boy and see if it works. Alright, here we are with Pokemon Grape, and unfortunately I've got some not-so-grape news. Sadly, this cartridge didn't work, at least not fully. So let's just go ahead and jump right into this. The first thing that I noticed right away was the sprites. While they did look amazing, they were a little glitchy. The battle sprites, like the in-game battle sprites, were just a little jumbled. It kind of actually reminded me of Green version, which I've talked about a few times, where all the Pokemon and battle mechanics, they're just really glitchy. It was weird. This one mostly had weird bars that would kind of come and go. It reminded me of like the censorship bars that you would see in TV shows sometimes. And then other times you would come across the same Pokemon and it looked completely fine. It was kind of random. Also, it was displaying the amount of damage you did to your opponent. That threw me off at first. I wasn't really sure what was going on, but once I figured it out, it was actually kind of cool. I've always wanted to know the exact damage I do because sometimes I feel like these games cheat me. Either way, I'm not sure if it was intentional for Grape or not to display the damage. Either way, it struck me as odd. Now, I'm used to visual glitches. I've beaten my glitchy green a few times now. It's not perfect, but it's playable. This, however, is where these two games differ. This Grape cartridge sadly does not hold a save, or at least not reliably. When I first got the game, it actually already had a test save on it, and that can be normal for these kinds of games. Sometimes they come with saves on them, sometimes they don't. I kind of like it when they do because it usually shows you right away that the game's probably going to work. But after messing around for a minute, I tried switching to a different Game Boy just to see if those weird bars would go away, but when I turned it on, it said my save file was corrupt. I was hopeful that that was maybe just a one-time mishap, so I went ahead and started up a new profile. I even saved it and turned it back on, and everything seemed fine. The save profile was there, but After I played a little bit more, I think I made it through the first gym, and I decided to take a longer break this time and come back, and after about an hour or so when I came back, same thing, file was corrupt. This is the occasional sad reality to these third-party cartridges. They don't always work. That's kind of the whole reason why I made this channel, to show you awesome ROM hacks in physical form. You know, I love to collect games physically, and it would probably be smarter for me to just get an EverDrive, but I just like having my games physically with the cases. I'm a collector. I like to collect. But this channel aims to show you that these physical games can be a nice alternative to authentic Pokemon games, which can be extremely pricey these days. And also to show you awesome fan games. I don't personally love to play games on my computer or on my phone. Obviously that's the way to do it when I want to test these, but generally I want to play it on authentic hardware if at all possible. In my experience, I don't usually have issues like this with these games. I think this is maybe the second video on my channel where I haven't had something that reliably saves. Usually it's the other way around, where it's typically just the ROM hack itself is just an incomplete game, and that always sucks too. And realistically, I could have probably had this situation remedied. Customer service is usually pretty good with these types of things, or at least in my experience. I either could have gotten a refund or perhaps even another cartridge that works, but the whole point of this video is to show you a more raw, authentic, and genuine experience. It wouldn't really be a review if I just returned it for a working one. So it is a bummer. I was looking forward to actually getting to play Grape. I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes peeled for another one, maybe one with a case this time around. And even though I didn't make it super far into Grape at all, it was an awesome ROM hack. Even with all the visual glitches, it was just a stunning ROM hack. And I definitely want everyone to go check it out. Show ADC and everyone else involved your support by playing this game. I have no doubt in my mind that you're going to have an absolute blast. Alright, that is going to bring us to the end of the video here, and just to recap real quickly, sadly this Grape cartridge was a little visually glitchy, and more importantly, it didn't hold a save. Sadly, this kind of thing happens sometimes. I think I said earlier that this is, I believe, the second time that this has happened to me on the channel. But that is sort of the whole point of this channel, to kind of show you all the positives and negatives of these physical cartridges. Generally, I find that they are mostly reliable in my experiences, and if you were to ever have something like this happen to you, I'm sure you could get this remedied in some way, either a refund or a new cartridge. I, of course, just wanted to show you that this can happen sometimes. They aren't always perfect. They're nothing compared to the original games themselves, the authentic copies. Either way, I definitely recommend you always check out your games on emulation first. It's the best way to check out these games. So definitely check out Pokémon Grape on emulation first. I definitely recommend it. It's a fantastic game. I know I didn't make it super far into it, but it is truly an excellent ROM hack. Definitely recommend you guys check this game out. I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes peeled for another one, and other games of course as well. Maybe one with a case next time. Who knows, maybe it'll actually work next time. But if you all enjoyed this video, I definitely recommend you leave a like. That would greatly help out the channel a ton. And if you guys have anything you want to see from me next, leave those in the comments down below. I'll do my best to reply. And until next time, I'll see you all later.